guys, welcome! So tonight's video is probably going to be the most requested video that everybody has been asking me for, and since I've started making videos. So I guess I decided tonight that I was just going to go ahead and make it for you. And I just got off work and nothing is planned, so I'm just going to, I literally pulled out everything from the past year of dental hygiene school. And I'm just thinking of ways that I have studied that have really worked for me. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. I just want to first say that everybody studies differently and everybody has a different study technique, and what I do might seem totally crazy to you and you would be like, how could you ever study from that? So just keep that in mind, that everybody studies differently and this is just how I study, okay? So first I just wanted to remind, if you are going into dental hygiene school, just a reminder that at the end of dental hygiene school you'll have what's called the boards exam, and it'll be everything that you have covered, from prereqs to everything that you have learned in the program. So I went ahead and I just bought one of these underbed totes and I just fill it. I keep everything organized by class. Like, this is probably like a 1 credit class on infection control. I just keep my notes and everything right in here. Some of them, I'll go closer. Some of them I used manila folders, and I kept some of the binders. The ones that just have like flashcards and were simple classes, I just used like Ipsy bags, honestly, and I just put them right in there and I just rubber band them just to have in there. So the first thing that I study when I go to study is 90% of your classes, I'm sure, probably, I am so disorganized tonight, I'm very sorry, will have something like that looks like this, and it's going to be an objective sheet, and it's pretty much going to be just an outline of what's going to be in the chapters, not necessarily what's going to be on the test, but probably a really good chance of all of this will be on your test. So I always keep this in mind to go back to. There's just literally pages of objectives. They'll probably give it to you in the beginning of the course, and it's just very good to have. I always use my objective sheet and I just go through. If there's something you don't know, most likely you're gonna have to know it and learn it by yourself, so that's always good to look through and be like, oh, I didn't know that was on there, and then you go and take the test and it's on there and you can't say, oh, we didn't learn this, because it's right here on your objective sheet. So this is always one of the first things that I always look at. And then, so when I study, I am a rewriter. I rewrite everything. I have to see everything in my own handwriting, and it literally sinks into my brain. I make flashcards beyond flashcards beyond flashcards for everything. Whether it's just me rewriting the information onto something else other than like writing it in class, I like rewrite it again. Or if it's the repetitive motion of going over the same, going back. So I'm sure I have some flashcards with me right now for my summer class. And I don't, but I have flashcards here. And I'll just show you kind of what I do. So, alright, so here's something simple. It just says the 3 rules to mask wearing, and then just the 3 on the back. So I would go here, I would learn them here, and then I would learn the other side. So I'd be like, okay, do not touch once on. So I'd have to be like, oh, these are the rules of mask wearing. So flashcards are pretty simple, and you really can't mess up flashcards. I love rewriting, so making flashcards with like cool pens. I have a container full of markers and cool pens, so I love writing with like really fine tip markers or like a really cool felt pen or something. So it makes making flashcards enjoyable for me, which really helps as well. So flashcards is like my #1 go-to for anything. If I have a test the next day, I still make flashcards because I am rewriting it and I'm getting the repetitive, like both sides of the question kind of deal. For other things, like when I'm taking notes in lecture, so I always take I lied because I said I always take a recorder to class. That's not a lie anymore, or that's not true anymore, because I did that my first semester. I recorded every lecture But now the second semester I kind of got a feel on how every professor was and how the tests were and what I needed to know and the extent of things. So unless it was going to be like a big lecture, I did not record all my lectures. But until you get the grasp of the professor and how the tests are, I do recommend recording them. I would go home, listen to the recording, make flashcards, and rewrite the notes. Even if I had like, look at these stacks of note cards. I just have piles, like piles and piles and piles of note cards. It's absurd. Like piles, like even if you do pictures on the front and then like the definition on the back, I just have like, I'm crazy. I'm sorry. I'm just like looking through these and I'm realizing that I'm crazy. So anyway, so I'll go home and I'll listen to the lectures and I'll rewrite my notes. So my notes in class are probably really crazy. The professor probably talks really fast. I have a professor who only does speech, so you are literally just writing everything she says and it's hard to get everything that you need to know. So I would go home, listen, rewrite the notes, and then make flashcards. Sometimes so this is what my notes would kind of look like in class. Just like simple written out. I try to bold really important letters. It helps my studying because it pops right out at me. So I have simple things like that. So then I would take these notes. Let's see if I have the exact. I don't, but anyway, so I would take those plain notes and I would make them color coded and pretty and just enjoyable for rewriting them, I guess. Like, I just will rewrite everything, and to me, in my brain, rewriting it is like 100% works for me. So just rewriting it and making them pretty is so much fun for me, and it's literally very beneficial. So if you are having a hard time, I had a really hard time learning how to study. I would just sit there and read through my notebooks, and none of that would ever work. So rewriting everything has literally changed the whole game for me. That's literally how I study 100% is rewriting. What else do I have? My recorder. Okay, so Quizlet. If you do not have time and you are really stressing, and literally my last like go-to option would be Quizlet. Even if you don't buy the premium Quizlet, they have the normal Quizlet, and you can just literally put the information on the front, definition on the back. I think I even have an app for my phone. I can access everything right from my phone. Put it on. I can make them on my computer at night with my notebook, and I can use my flashcards at work, at the doctor's, wherever you are. They're literally right here, and that's super helpful. You can add photos to that. There's sound if you want to hear the names of things. Okay, so here's another way that I redo things. I started doing this where I would type up my notes after class while listening to the lectures. That did not work as well for me as physically writing them out, but sometimes if you have a final, these are really, really nice to study from. That's pretty much just how I do those. So there is that. So I have these, this, and flashcards are my huge saver, as well as the objective sheets. Other things for like models for like A&P, or not A&P, oral anatomy and stuff, you'll get handouts that sort of, give me a sec. Okay, one sec. So here's like an example of, oh my gosh, I have a test to study for, and I used Quizlet, and I just put all the pictures on the front and all their definitions or names right on the back. Super easy. You can literally print them and just fold them. I don't recommend it if you have the time to actually make flashcards, because in my brain, rewriting them is totally more beneficial. But having pictures sometimes is better than having words. So even if you have diagrams or something, I literally will take the diagram, I'll redraw it, I'll put my own ABCDs on there, and then I just stick the answers right on the back, and that's how I studied that, and I still am rewriting it. Yeah, so I pretty much, my way of studying is rewriting and repeating the information over and over and over again. that is how I study, and I think that's most effective for me. It took me a long time to figure out how I studied until I just sat down one day and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know this information. I need to sit here and go over all of it and just rewrite it until I learn it. And ever since that point, I just really, that is just how I study. And I know you probably think I'm crazy. My other suggestion is that sometimes when you first get into school and you have friends, it's very hard to socialize and you're like, oh, let's study as in a group together. That does not work for me. I can't, I study my own way, so hearing other people's answers and stuff kind of throws me off. So I kind of try now to just go off by myself, and I hide and I take my notes and I rewrite them, or I'll go through my flashcards, or even better, when you have your flashcards, rewrite the answer. So if the flashcard says what's the tension test, I'll look at the front of it and then I'll write all the information on the back, and that's also very helpful because you are rewriting it still. So yeah, that's pretty much how I studied. So I just tore apart my room to show you guys all this when I really only needed one box. But if you have any like organization tips, this is literally just all I do. I put perio, the class date, when I took it, and literally everything just fits right inside. And it's all there, so when you have to go back to studying for the boards, you have all the information just to skim through. Someone just left me a very awesome comment, and it made my night so much. So if you're watching this, thank you so much for your comment. They asked how I stay so positive during all of it, and sometimes it's very hard to stay positive and you're just like, oh my gosh, this is so much harder than I thought, which it's not, you'll be fine. But it's kind of just thinking about how long it took, how much work it took for you to get there. Some people are just generally smart and it took nothing for them to get into the program, and they probably aren't the ones who are watching this video because they probably don't need the extra, like, not help, but just they got it under control kind of people. But then there's me, who I worked really hard. I spent a lot of time studying to get my prereqs A's, and I spent a lot of time studying because that's how my body functions, is that I have to study. I'm just not naturally smart, and there's some people that are like that. So if you're having a hard time staying positive and people are bringing you down, just remember that it's a personal goal and you got here by yourself and you don't really need anybody else's opinion anyway. So let me know if you have any comments. I absolutely love reading my comments. I love opening my YouTube after work and seeing all the nice comments from everybody. So let me know, and thanks.